Sister Rosemary Donley. See how tall Sister Rosemary Donley is? That is a key feature of her story. She has a very important role at Duquesne University in the School of Nursing, focusing programs on vulnerable populations, disabled people, all kinds of things. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Sister Rosemary Donley, and my story is I'm going to tell you how I became a nurse. It started a long time ago, and I entered the Sisters of Charity, and that year they were a little desperate, so they sent the brand new people, the postulants, to teach. And I went to a place I had never heard of, Apollo, Pennsylvania, in the Greensburg Diocese. It's near the Kiski River and East Vandergrift. And I had 61 second graders, 3 sets of identical twins. And the students knew a lot more than I did because they lived on farms and they had seen animals being born. And it was a good year, but I felt bad as the time went on because I didn't know what I was doing. And these children were dependent upon me to teach them to read and write. So the next year, I went back to the novitiate, which is the place where they teach you how to be sisters. And it was about this time of year. It was around St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. And the mistress of novices, that was like the woman in charge, the boss, she said to me, and you were supposed to be going to Pittsburgh Hospital this morning to have an exam. My heart almost stopped. I had had a real bad cold, and I thought, they're sending me home, and the first thing they're going to do is send me in for a physical, and then they're going to tell me, no, you go home. And I said, I'm not sick. I'm not sick. And she said, what's wrong with you? You're going to take a test for nursing. So the next thing I knew, I was going to be a nurse. And that surprised me because I thought, having gone to Sacred Heart High School, that I would be a teacher of English and that maybe I would get to teach Shakespeare. Or maybe I'd be a librarian because I loved books. But then I thought back to my little second graders in Apollo, and I thought, they'll teach me to be a nurse. And so I went into Pittsburgh Hospital, and I started to learn how to be a nurse. And each day, I liked it more and more. In fact, I loved it, because all the things I wanted to read about, I was suddenly part of. Life and death, great joy, and suffering. And then they sent us, the students, to a tuberculosis hospital in Butler, Pennsylvania. And we had an experience there that was 6 weeks. We came to know the patients, and each of us were given a special patient that we had to take care of. And my patient was going to have surgery. And so I went to the operating room with him, and they were being very nice to me. They stood me on a stool so I could see, and I looked on, and they opened the man's chest. And I saw, for the first time in my life, the heartbeat, and the lungs expand and contract. And I was overwhelmed, and I gasped. And the surgeon looked at me and he said, what's wrong? Haven't you ever seen surgery? And I said, no. And he said, how far along are you in the program? And I said, the end of my first year. And he said, are you going to get sick? And I said, no, that's the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my life. And I thought about it. And I always wondered, why did the community decide to send me into nursing? And then one day I found out. There was a woman in our community, her name was Mother Rose Genevieve, and she had been the major superior, the big boss, She had been the administrator of the hospital, and she had been the president of the college. Now, not all at once, but over her years. And so when she asked to see the mistress of novices, my boss, the mistress came. And even though she was old and very sick, the mistress listened to her. And she said, I should be a nurse because I was tall. And I would inspire confidence in the patients. And I was kind. And sick people, especially chronically ill sick people, need a nurse that's kind. And so my wonderful life as a Sister of Charity, I see as a gift from God, but I also see it as a very special gift of Mother Rose Genevieve. And I thank her every day. And I thank you for coming tonight.